Yo.
Yes, sir.
What's up, guys?
Yes. This DJ will kick the floor in 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to Mzansi. We're back again. It is that time of the night. Yeah, some of you have been sending some messages, which we appreciate the engagement. Greetings, though, and welcome to Mzansi Reality again. It's been a while since we said that. We normally just get into the business and do what we have to do and take it lightly that you are here to support and be behind this channel. But as you do that, now today we are reminded that, yeah, it is important to actually have you guys. We appreciate you for watching. We appreciate you for the feedback, engagement. That is very positive and progressive. Now, we are going to start today with the proceeding that happened today, because I was checking time, guys. So let us hear what happened today. And there and there, I think some of the things were said that probably shouldn't have been said out of the brewing anger that probably is happening in court and annoyance that can be forgiven. But it is important to actually be careful of what you say with your mouth. Even though you might be angry, and that is, for me, a word of innocence, caution to Ramusibil, who did very well. Just one part of accepting the pictures after casting so much doubts on the pictures and how they can be edited. And instead of bringing it home now and conclude properly, you then accept the pictures out of anger because of the arguments that are happening and the disturbances and perhaps a bit of resistance from the witness. It was, for me, a mistake.
A hard blow. It
was a mistake. And Sbanda just uses it to show that it was a big blunder. And it's already on record. So, Emily, let's hear what you have to say.
Yeah, that one for me was like, just deny. At the end of the day, I'm even wondering if Ndanzi was shown the pictures one by one, so that he can properly state which ones he recalls taking. Sometimes I'm like, okay, not all of them needed to be, accepted. And the most thing about that beard that had me wondering is the O shape. Some parts, Ndlovu was saying it was C-shaped. Some parts he said there's no beard at all. Some parts, and then Ramsipili just goes and accepts everything, and I'm like, yo, sizoithini manje.
I think what he wanted to say is he accepts the pictures as they are, but probably are not. He has got no contestation of that, but they are not the reflection of his client.
But that's what he should have said.
That's probably what he wanted to say,
he should have said
which is
that.
What Nisi normally does. Nisi accepts. Nisi works with that, but there's always a strategy behind that. When he did it for the first time, we were shocked. What he's talking about is
accused number 3 doesn't deny.
He does that to have your guards down, so that he can leech on whatever that he wants to leech on. He does that after careful consideration and, I can tell you, engaging with the accused.
Yeah.
That's Mnisi. Mnisi is very inclusive. Even in that court, I think is the most advocate that asks for indulgence.
Yeah, from the client.
For the client to actually have.
He communicates.
So he's more inclusive of of what he's going to do and his strategy. When he feels short of something before he says it, or even if he says it, he asks his client. And it does annoy the judge, but I mean, it does then help the case and the record. He makes rare mistakes. He makes more. It doesn't make much of those mistakes if they are there. So far, I have not seen them. He is just flowing as far as the client is concerned and putting the views of the clients to this record.
Ramasipili has to, I don't know, but he has to argue. He has to not be waiting for the contestation to finish or just for the sake of progress. Hi, Baba.
Yeah, I think there is too much. There are a lot of things to learn from this case. More so when it comes to fairness, because in a different courts that would have been verified.
Yeah.
But in this court,
you have to argue.
You say it once, it becomes that.
Yeah.
And I mean, more judges that are alert of who are standing, they would have asked, is that what I'm hearing? Is that what you are saying? But this one does this only ask the questions if it has to correct the states. But once you make a mistake as a defense, it becomes that.
Yeah,
he even uses it first to show you that you made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was a mistake for me. It was a huge mistake.
It was a huge blunder.
Yeah.
So the morning started with Ramasipili continuing to cross-examine Warrant Officer Thabo Ndlovu, and Ramasipili picked up on the testimony of Constable Sizwe Zungu, who told the court that Bongani Ntanzi changed hoodies at the hostel on the night Meyiwa was killed. So Ramasipili started by asking Ndlovu, by stating that accused number 2 took to the stand during the trial within a trial and denied ever being at the hostel and changing hoodies. And the judge said, you see, I've been keeping quiet. I don't want to interfere, but I read what relevance this evidence is. I gave you the definition of what relevance evidence is. I don't know if you were listening to me. So this is my opinion. The court of public opinion is more concerned about the relevance of this evidence currently being presented. And the judge just decided to, is this him defending his decision by reading us something to say that he wasn't wrong for ruling what he ruled?
I think so. He's trying to sound correct. But that's the thing, and I said this thing a long time ago, is you can't, in a case of this nature, have a judge sitting in my opinion. Because, I mean, this is what you're going to be subjected to. Once they are sucked in, they are not able to actually divorce their emotions and apply logic, the so-called law. Then it becomes a problem because they will always try to verify the other party and justify for the other party. And that is, in a sense, that is biasness.
You know, I think my heart stopped towards the end when he lifted the book that he was reading from, when he was reading just what I'm about to get to. And he was saying that he quoted a case from Australia or something, some other country. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, that's what he said.
So you're telling me that this justification of his ruling came from a book here, Australia?
No. He's saying some of the cases that he used.
Some of the cases.
There was enough backing from South Africa. I don't think he would have needed Australia, but it's just for the fun of it to, how these lawyers are. They believe they're the most learned people in this earth, so they must just throw in some of the countries now and then And he was, in a sense, emphasizing the other point that is going to be very important, I think, for the recalling and also for the application that MNC is going to have. To say that if this is not applicable in South Africa because of our laws that allow us to be subjected to other countries' laws, more so overseas laws, then we are welcome to use that as an argument, which I think is good for MNC because it's going to allow MNC to actually be more open to cases that are, I mean, when it comes to law and how it is applied, other countries have done more than what we have done. And I think their laws are much more better and the cases they faced and all that. So, because you heard what you were saying about this kind of exigency, that it is not something that is a norm in South Africa. So you're probably going to find limited, if any, cases of such nature, apparently. Because in South Africa, it's all about waiting until the end. Then you do such things. But let us hear what... I don't think that this is much of a big deal.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, he's under pressure to actually accept or accede to what MNC is actually requesting.
Okay.
Reason being, he is going to want to portray that he is open to conviction, to anything, and as far as the trying to help the court is concerned. So now, whatever that MNC is going to come with, I foresee him acceding to it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of the pressure that he has caused in accepting this so-called evidence that was important, this one, and the reopening of this case. So there's a pressure now. So it's the right time to actually ask for something. And I mean, this is more important. In fact, as far as the reopening of this case is concerned, this is more important because this accused is subjecting himself to everyone saying, please just go test if I've ever had a gold tooth. Why not? Because this gold tooth is being fitted to everyone.
Yeah.
Let's put this thing to rest.
To rest.
And,
Let's know whether
and we
he's
move
had
on.
a gold tooth before or not. And also, the judge now was reading the passage from the book that he brought to court today. But before reading it, he had to slide in some shade. Okay, he said, because unfortunately this trial is beset by people who know the law better than this judge. I'm like, okay. He said that he was quoting what he read about irrelevant evidence. And he said that irrelevant evidence is inadmissible. No evidence as to any fact, matter, or thing shall be admissible which is irrelevant or immaterial and which cannot conduce to prove or disprove any point of fact at issue in a criminal proceedings. Okay, he did mention that this was section 120 or something like that. And for my liking, honestly, I have to state this opinion. It's a very strong opinion I have. I just feel like, he sure is defending this ruling that he made. And if he truly believed this evidence was relevant...
Judges are not immune to criticism.
Okay.
If he feels that he knows the law better than certain judges that we have seen...
Yes.
I think I've seen better judges than him.
Me too.
I've seen very, very, very good judges, in my opinion, than what I'm seeing here.
Me too.
All
I can say
I
is
don't
I've
understand
seen
why he thinks that he's the best thing that ever happened in this so-called law, Roman Dutch law. I don't understand. He, I think, for me, is the worst judge that I've seen on TV. So, yeah.
Well, he said that if you listen to that, because I'm just keeping quiet in cross-examination, Warrant Officer Ndlovu, about what is supposed to have been said about another witness, is that admissible? But I'm thinking to myself, but you allowed the state to go and do this. You just sat there, you folded your arms. In fact, you looked more focused than everyone else while the state was having a witness point and describe pictures that they had nothing to do with, that they don't even know the details of the case. You know, I'm so perplexed. I'm so perplexed. This witness is not a part of the cold case unit. He's not the one who drafted the identity kit. He's not the one who knows the details of the case as to who is who, what is what, and what is happening. All he did is just extract and then send it to the IO. He didn't even compile these photos, but here he was testifying, talking about beards from observation, beards, the shape of the beards, the clothing, but you sat there and you just let it happen for a good straight 2 hours, and I'm like, yo, and you even allowed him to be examined on the contents of an identity kit that he did not compile. Not for once did you ask the state, why is it not calling Warrant Officer Steenkamp to come and testify regarding the work, the compilation that she did. None of that happened in this case.
And maybe, honestly speaking, Steenkamp would be the right person to source such information or comparison.
Yes.
From. Not this guy. I don't know who between the defense asked him, actually took him to that direction, even though it was risky. But the guy, I think, I'm going to say...
I think. You said, are you a facial recognition?
And he asked for the comparison. The guy said they're not the same. I'm going to be honest, though, with you when it comes to this witness, Ndlovu.
Yeah.
I don't think there was enough time for briefing. And I don't think Ndlovu was in the same train as the state. He eventually got annoyed.
Yeah.
And he wanted to leave. And I don't think there was enough time, actually, to... people seemed more scared as towards the end. You could see the faces when he was telling them, don't count me on this ruckus. I don't know. I'm here for 1, 2, 3 only. Even reminding the judge that allowed such cross-examination to continue, leading such evidence to happen. It was an egg in the face of that judge when he was saying that I'm here for the chain of command. I'm here for a banning of disinformation. That's what I should be subjected to.
Yes.
And Ramosipir, rightfully so, highlighted that. And then he said, I rest my case then. You are correct. That's what I thought. But unfortunately, in the very same court, as people are burying their heads down in the books, they have led you to things that I don't think you're supposed to even be commenting on.
No, they have a person who compiled that identity kit. They have them. All that he needed to do or was called for is to confirm whether what has been extracted came from what he downloaded.
Now
Finish.
You came out and you have expedited the what do we call the sketch? What is it? Identity kit.
Yes. Matata. Well, at this point, after the judge read the section 120 that he was reading concerning irrelevant evidence, Ramsipili wanted to respond, but he was not even given a chance to respond. The judge kept cutting him. Okay.
Very emotional, reckless behavior of this judge, and to show how much emphasis he has when it comes to the states. He sometimes cuts the person who's examining and be talking about re-examination of the witness.
Yes,
to show
before they
that
are not even done.
he gets irritated, not even irritated. He actually is looking for states to answer when things are swaying to the direction of the defense. He is just in a hurry, in such a way that he won't even be asking for number two. And I can tell you now, these 2 days, not even these 2 days, since we came back, the person that is giving this judge sleepless nights is at the beginning. The last time I saw him forgetting that accused number 4 and number 3, number 4 and 5 needed to also cross-examine for the purpose of this case, even if it was not directly to them, is when Ngomezulu was here.
Yes.
So
yes,
I think it's worse for me, and I say it with utmost respect, the greatest respect to the learned colleague. That I think even Maumela was actually the better judge and more composed. Anger, yes.
He would show that he's angry,
but
and there was one individual in particular that obviously
irritated him.
Yeah,
but other than that,
he kept it together.
He kept it together,
even though we got that sense that ngathu side la. Yeah, but he didn't. He wore a poker face. You could,
and he was, when he was applying the. In fact, that's how a judge should be.
You must just not show
you get
which
to,
side you're on.
You get to understand why they say he's not faster in terms of finishing the cases. He gives you a chance, an ample chance to actually do what you need to do without interfering.
Yes.
I think, honestly speaking, between RATHA and Maumela, I think Maumela is way mature. Way better. Except for the glass.
You mean the synonymous white cup?
The white cup.
Then Ramasipile said that it was not admissible. The judge said, of course, why should I waste my time and say whatever Ndlovu can say? He can say that the witness danced the Bangaloo dance. It's at this moment that the cameraman took the camera to Advocate Nisi's direction. And I could see that, hey, Ibangati, I know I could be reading him wrong, but Ibangati ufunu ukuthi Ramasipile. I saw, but he was wearing a mask, but I could feel that, you know. This is what Advocate Nisi lives for. The back and forth. Then the judge said, if you know that I'm going to take it into consideration when I write the judgment, like asking this witness to comment on what Zungu said, so what? But if you listen to the description I gave about relevant evidence which is not conducive and is immaterial to prove anything, if you read your Criminal Procedure Act concerning evidence, you'll know that. It was so bad that Ramasipile had to ask him for an opportunity to respond. He had to ask for permission from the judge to speak. Then he said, my lord, let me briefly respond so that it's on record. He said he went on to read, no, it's not concerning that. Ramasipile's cross-examination of Ndlovu regarding what Zungu said, but yet allowed the state to put into the record what Zungu said using Ndlovu as a mouthpiece, right? But he does not want the defense to challenge what Zungu said, in my opinion. So the judge said that you keep asking the witness about what Zungu said. So what? I'm going to take that into consideration when I write my judgment. Ramasipile said you would have heard that I did say that it's irrelevant evidence. After deliberations on this point, the judge and Ramasipile then agreed to move on. Ramasipili moved on to Sibia's picture that was found on Danzi's phone. And now he said to Mr. Ndlovu, Mr. Danzi instructs me as follows, that he does not know how the photos of Mr. Sibia came to be in his memory card, as he does not share photographs with him. Furthermore, that he does not want to give an explanation as to how they got there, as that would later be held against him. So when the state made an application to recall this witness, on his heads he said that this is irrelevant evidence, right? So in giving that version concerning what had happened, and Ntanzi expressing that he doesn't want to even start to explain how those pictures could have ended up in his memory card, that would be used against him. What did you think about that statement? I felt like it was a powerful statement.
It was. I mean, you are... there's nothing to feel. Actually, he was straightforward, clearly saying that
Me,
I do not know how.
Yes, because we've
here.
seen it happen before, where he would try to explain, and then what ends up happening is that the state would now go on a hunt to, just like what is happening with the beard situation. Right? Ramasipili put on record that the accused doesn't have a particular shaped beard, right? And then now the state is hammering on this just to try and use this information against him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the judge said that he saw Ndlovu's expression, since he's an experienced officer, when he was asked to comment on what Zungu said, because he knows ukuthi Uzungu ngenapi. This is at the point now when the back and forth after it had happened, and now the judge was entering again to try, which is what I felt like he was trying to sway the witness, in my opinion. You know, I could be wrong, but it felt like he was trying to sway the witness to say something that, or maybe to I don't know how to interpret it, because he said even he says that he's not an analyst, but he let it pass because he was told that he was interfering before. And then he asked him, why did he not make the same,
So you let it pass for the states.
Yes.
How conveniently it is for him to actually let it pass for the states and not let it pass for the defense, and actually makes the comments under the defense's time. He could have made those comments there and there for the record. Now you are making them under the defense time, so it sounds like you are actually excoriating the defense.
Yes, that's the most confusing part. I'm like, but you just sat there and you let them. Now that the defense is cross-examining, now it's a problem. So Ramasipili even reminded the judge that he also objected at the beginning of the examination in chief. He said that he was under the impression that they were only calling on the photos. There were 3 passages that he was referred to, and Ramasipili was holding a photo there, trying to explain and hammer onto the situation that I raised this as an objection before this witness even came to this court. That picture that he was holding, what I could see what looked like a man wearing a hat and a gray hoodie, and it was kind of similar to what Ndlovu had described yesterday. Okay, so eventually, can we say that ultimately this was a fold to say that the evidence was irrelevant?
It was.
Ne? So Ramasipili then went on to the photographs depicting Mr. Sibia and the other one with firearms. So on this one, Mr. Ntanzi...
But normally when the evidence is irrelevant, the judges don't write. But it's an opposite with this one, because he writes a lot and then he claims that it's irrelevant. I now wonder, why are you writing this much?
Why was he so focused in
of
writing
irrelevant stuff? Because
why was he writing irrelevant?
You want your notes to be precise and short. You don't want to write that day. Even here, I was saying it's irrelevant. Why were you writing so much?
focused. And I'm like, yo, I wonder what
When
is being
a
taken
narrative
here.
was being painted that these accused could have been still wearing the same, or could have still had the same clothing that the so-called Zungu
Was wearing.
was describing.
Was describing my apologies.
Why did you keep quiet?
I'm like, yo, you look so focused. And I'm like, but for me, I cannot pick up anything that I would say is a hoo-ha. But the judge is so focused. He's writing down. I'm like, Evan, what am I missing? What am I missing? I had to replay that part. What did I miss? Oh my God. Well, Ramasipile said that on this one, Ms. Tantanzi instructed him as follows, that should it be necessary for him to testify, he will come and tell the court that he does not know how the photos of Mr. Sibia came to be in his memory card, and he did not share the photos with Mr. Sibia, and that he does not even want to give an explanation to this court as to how they ended up in his memory card. And also he said that he does not know, and he does not want to prefer a speculative answer on this aspect. And with regard to the photo firearms and the bullets, he says that he's never downloaded such photos of this nature in his cell phone or in his SD card. As such, he does not know how the photos got there. And with regard to the other pictures with Mr. Ntanzi, he says that it is him, and the features placed on record, those are his features as depicted on those photos at the time that they were taken. Oh my God, this moment my heart dropped. I was like, why? 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 So now I'm wondering, especially concerning that particular picture we talked about the other day that was circulating on social media. Didn't Tanzi even look at these pictures? Is now what I'm beginning to ask myself, Gutaibo. How do you accept these pictures? All of them.
Maybe the picture in question was never put as a picture. I don't know. I'm just going to assume that.
Well, Ramasipili asked him if he also did the downloading or he only did the analysis. The judge told him that he did not do the analysis. So Ndlovu confirmed it, and the judge then said that as an old man, he listens. The witness never said that they did the analysis. Ndlovu said that what he did was only the extraction of the CD. Yesterday he was asked who prepared the photos, and he said that he did not know. Ndlovu said that he thought that by coming there he would be asked about the authenticity of the CD and whether the photos were the ones extracted.
Wait, Mr. Oros leading you.
Yesterday.
You should have said that.
Angazi mina why manje songibuza ngale ithombe lezi ukuthi nani ngaphakathi ngoba mina ngazi.
No, you should have said that to Mr. Penguin when he was leading you to.
Mina ngizivulanga le ithombe lezi. I
Pouch
only
us
did
that-
the extraction, and I gave it to the investigating officer. I don't know the contents of these photos, and I don't want to even speak on the contents of these photos, because what happens is if you allow it with examination in chief to testify on that, cross-examination, you will be cross-examined about it. And then now this happens. I don't know. Then Ndlovu said that he was puzzled as to where he was being taken. He said that his view and all that he can say to the court is that he thinks that he had already stated that that was an extraction. It is the way that it is. He further said that I don't have a problem. If they want to confirm it with whoever, then they can do so that we can see if it matches with everything and it is what he is saying. So yesterday he said that I was also asked about the chain of evidence, of which I repeated the explanation in full, so I did not have a challenge with it. Ndlovu said that he would like the court to look into this because with him being taken here and there, even though the chain is not challenged and his data is not being challenged, then you are also confusing me, he said. So Ramasipili then said to him, Warrant Officer, let me tell you, if I was supposed to applaud in court, I was going to applaud you because in fact, my whole cross-examination now is gone. This is the same objection that you are now raising to me. I said so when an application was made to call you. Why are you being called here for the persons that called you here, for their heads now are deepened in their books? Well, there was a moment there where Sibanda objected and Ramasipili then withdrew quickly. The judge was asking him, what is that? What did you mean by that? What did you say, Ati? I meant that they are facing down, their heads are buried in the books. And he said it's not an insult. Dabo.
Because that's what the judge was interested in.
Ramasipili then withdrew and he went on to ask him that is why he was baffled when they asked about the O-type beard. And he said, I thought you were here to talk about your extraction. You are not a facial identification expert. And on that note, I'm going to release you from my cross-examination because it is not your forte about what Muhola, Madlala, and whosoever said before. So then Ramasipili was done with his cross-examination. Numalo had no cross-examination. Advocate Mshololo stood. And she said that she had very few questions for the witness, just to understand for herself the relevance of the witness's evidence. Mshololo asked, you were led by the state through the content of this exhibit, and Ndlovu said yes. And you confirmed what's here in line with the USB which you led with in this court, or you were led with in this court. And Ndlovu said yes, that is what he did. And then Mshololo asked him, because you led evidence regarding that, I will ask you questions regarding that. And Ndlovu said that it was fine. Mshololo asked him, are you a facial identification expert? And Ndlovu said no. Mshololo then asked him, and you are not experienced in that department? Ndlovu said yes. Mshololo then asked him, and you gave the dates of the photo of when they were taken. Do you remember? Ndlovu said yes. And Mshololo asked him, you'll correct me if I'm generalizing wrong, but from these few pictures you testified that they were taken in 2020.
Yeah, guys, let's press the like button. 406. We only have 157 likes. Please press the like button. Lindy Wepembe, thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you. And then he also said that, Advocate Mshololo said that, and none of the pictures were taken on the 26th of October 2020. They were taken 2020, not 26th of October 2014. 2020 pictures are being used to create the picture of Zungu's story in 2014. Pictures that were taken in 2020. I need for us to digest that. Yes. And he said, and Ndlovu said that is true, Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, oh my God, what a great one from Mshololo, bringing this entire thing home, placing it on record like this. It was a good job. Mshololo then said, and you testified on the deleted pictures, and you said that when you are retrieving the information using XRY, you are able to tell even pictures that have been deleted. Ndlovu said yes. The judge now came in saying that factually that cannot be true. Something which is deleted, he addressed the witness, and she says, now the judge looks at Ndlovu. Straight at Ndlovu, right? It's Advocate Mshololo testifying.
Cross-examining.
Not testifying, cross-examining, right? And the judge says to the witness, she says you are able to retrieve the pictures that were deleted. Do you understand her statement? The witness said that they understood her statement. Just like yesterday, the witness is saying, I explained that I'm not denying that the picture was there. It's already deleted and there's no information on that photo. So it seems like what he is now saying is that the reason the photo is visible is not because it was retrieved, but it is because the photo is just there with no data. The lack of this data is what made him conclude that the photo was being deleted. Am I following?
No, apparently there is a delete on it. You see, what I got from this whole explanation that has been going on is that deleting the picture moves to an SD card.
Yesterday.
That's how I feel. That's how it feels like when they explain this thing. I don't know how, which I think it was not clarified as much as I would have liked it to actually be clarified. What he's saying is that you delete the picture, and then you can even delete it from the phone, and then but when it's restored, it is restored to a card as a formatted. It's like a ghost that comes back. You can still see it, but you cannot trace it. You know, that's basically the feeling I got. It's like a ghost that comes back. You can see it, but you cannot trace it, where it comes from, which family does it belongs to, and stuff like that. But you can see the visual. So umonga hlangana nomuntu owakubo kwaleyo ghost to explain the facial ukuthi ngihlangana nomuntu so ozodaya siswami slow. You know, that's basically what I felt. But how it moves from being deleted on the phone to be in an SD card as a ghost with no trace dates and whatsoever, that I don't know. That I think still is a mystery.
This doesn't make sense, in my opinion. Now the judge was saying that that's it in the background. And I'm like, hey?
Exactly. That's where you see the problem that this defense is facing. They are not only facing the state, they are facing the mighty judge and the state, in my opinion.
We don't understand how this man is saying that he was able to see the deleted pictures, that they are deleted. We are still trying to consume that. Not just the defense counsel, even the accused, even the court of public opinion. And you are like, that's it. And the judge said, yeah, but textually it shows copy at the list of what was deleted, not the original. And at this moment, I'm like, it seems the judge understands the evidence better than the person who extracted the data, because what? He was able to put a better explanation than the witness. Kan kwenzakalani kule court, guys? And he said he was not done. Okay, he said he was not done. He said, I want to be precise in my thinking. Because if this case goes somewhere else, somebody else will say, I'm like, wow. Mshalola then shifted her focus from the judge and decided to address Mr. Ndlovu.
That's the way to go.
And I'm like,
I think over time he has mastered that. Time of being verified and...
Hey, icon. Then Mshololo focused to Mr. Ndlovu and he said, Mr. Ndlovu, I'm not fighting with you. Please do not be emotional.
This is now directed to a judge. You know, Ndlovu is just a deflector of the message. Mr. Ndlovu, I'm not
fighting with you.
The person who was fighting there, for my opinion is the judge. And Ndlovu never fought. Even Ndlovu was saying, I understand.
He said, I I'm just clarifying the
spirit of the
evidence
judge.
which you have said. And that is why I said, correct me if I'm wrong. Then Glovu said, I'm also responding to the questions that I'm being asked. I'm telling you, this response was so much better in Zulu. I don't know. I just found it hilarious. What's in naming pendulo mbuzo lo ongbuze wona?
Not your spirits that was standing there on your stand. Not physical. He was addressing that spirit that was not physically there. The spirit, but was there. The voice was there. He was just addressing that. Nshololo was just addressing that. Mr. Ndlovu, I'm not fighting.
I'm not fighting. I can obvious. She can't address the person who's fighting.
It's a mighty judge.
Then not Nisi, but Shololo said, okay, so let's also reduce emotions. I understood you to say that even the deleted pictures through your machine, you are able to retrieve. You have now clarified that you can only be able to retrieve a copy of that picture with no data. Right. And then
Now that's a
said,
better explanation. You are retrieving a copy.
Yes. Yes. And then Glovo said, I heard you. And then Mshololo said, so what you have shown this court, in other words, is a copy because the original had been deleted. Glovo said that he will explain it again. Now he says, if the picture has been deleted, it's just a print that shows the picture was here. And then it got deleted. That is why it does not have the information at the bottom of when it was taken and stuff and the stuff and the stuff. So if it's only a print that's been demonstrated where the actual picture shown in where the actual picture was, does it also show the actual picture? That is the question I have.
No, it is when they are saying it's not showing the actual picture image, they are not meaning the appearance. The appearance will be there. But what we're missing is information. I think that example of a ghost is actually, in my opinion, a good example because you don't know what this is progress, but we are born. If you've seen a ghost in your lifetime, but you can't tell what is up. They even talk to them, these ghosts. So, but you can tell. You can actually tell what is on the up. But if you like, but it's disappearish. It just disappears. So that's the picture. The picture does not have a group or the background or the surname or anything that it can have. It is just there. You can see there was a person. You can see the face. Yeah.
So when he says it's a print,
that's what
does he
he's
mean?
saying. He's saying it's just a print that is there. Like if I take a picture, the original picture is defined by your coordinates, your time, your date it was taken, and all that. But this one, it's just there, like a blended picture. Let me put it like that. It does not have a background.
There was a time when I was still a student and I would be deleting things and I would want to get them back. And I would go to these very questionable websites looking on how I can retrieve what I lost because I feel like maybe I deleted the wrong picture or what and it's out of the recycle bin and whatnot, and I would find them. When I brought them back, they came with the information.
Yeah, that is the format that is speaking about. They came with the information, but they lose something. Okay, let's make an Excel an example. You close an Excel.
Yeah.
That has an auto backup.
Yeah.
You close it without saving. So you don't have any place where it's saved now, right? So it's not going to tell you I was saved at this time. No. So now you are going to open an Excel and go to the history of Excel and try to retrieve it there. It's going to come back with all the calculations and all that, but it's not going to come back with the name that it was. Maybe if you named it at some point and you saved it as Emily's Excel, it's just going to come back as a copy of that.
Hi, Mr. Anonymous. It seems like you and the judge are on the same wavelength. You are understanding.
No,
this
it does happen with an Excel, Emil.
Yeah.
If you go to that history and you say you open it, it's gonna come back, but it normally doesn't. Recently, I think the recent example that I can give you, I was building a report for on BI. So what happened is I lost all that information. I lost it. It just, as I was done coding and doing everything there, and then I didn't save it. So the laptop was updating. You know, these companies, they just update anytime they want to. So they were updating during the day. I lost everything. So when I went to try to find and retrieve that Excel at that stage, because I had a lot of calculations that I now had to start afresh coding. I couldn't. Eventually, I find a way of bringing it back. It didn't come back as, for example, the KPIs that I was doing. I named it KPI when I saved it long time ago. But the other part that I did was not saved. So when it came back with the current calculations, it didn't come back as the KPI. It came just as a Power BI with no name.
Okay.
With the calculations, though, the recent calculations. So I had to start afresh start afresh, rename them, and then save them again.
Okay.
Now, do you get what the issue of the picture is saying?
I'm not going to lie, no. But let's move on.
You obviously not gonna get it. I think you're not gonna get it because you don't wanna get it.
It's not
in
that
your
I don't
lifetime,
want to
have
get
you
it.
ever?
I honestly don't get it.
So in your lifetime, if you just use your memory, when you have deleted the work that you had deleted, say the document, the what is it called?
Maybe it's because in
the
my
Word
head
document.
I
They
have
say-
picture of images. I don't have picture of your Excel and your
Okay.
Word. And
When you
because
lost
there I always save when I work there because I know for me it
No, it
was
does
a
happen
challenge
sometimes
to
that
get
you
it
don't
back.
save. Like you just do
Nah,
what
I
you do.
save. Control S. Control S all the time.
It does happen. I mean, I think many people will agree with me.
Yeah,
it does
it
happen
does
that you don't
happen.
save. I mean, you are talking about
It does, but I can't remember the last time that it happened.
So when you
to
lost
me.
the document, it came back as when you try to
It's
find
been
a way
a while
of
since I
retrieving them.
lost the document. The
But
last
you
time I
said
lost
you-
the document was
you-
a long time
You
ago.
said you lost something.
I was speaking about pictures.
Yes, when you lost that thing, did it
I was
came back?
speaking about images.
Did it came back as that?
But I could see the details when I would click.
I don't think
the
you even checked the
information
details.
of the picture.
I don't think
would
you
see
checked.
them. That
I don't think you checked the details. You just were happy that the picture came back. If you lost the
But
picture.
it had data.
What data?
The information on the
Okay.
picture was there.
So you lose a picture of Emily.
The type of the picture,
No.
all that thing, that whole thing.
You lose
when
a picture of Emily. You retrieve that picture in a certain way. It comes back.
in a different name.
Are you gonna come back? Are you gonna go and check with it? Oh, it does it have time when I saved it initially and all that? You don't. You didn't do that.
But I get
You were just happy that
I-
Emily's picture is back.
But why do you want to make it seem like I don't know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
I've lost pictures before in a
Yes,
computer and
yes.
even in a cell phone, and I would retrieve them. When they come back, they didn't come back as blanks or with prints. They came back with information of the picture. When you press that button where it says info, there would be details telling you about the picture.
I think once we're done with this show, I would like us to delete something, and it goes maybe to recycle bin
Yeah.
and then retrieve it.
Okay, you'll do that and you'll screen record and explain for us. Maybe it will make sense. To me, it doesn't, honestly speaking. And I'm not going to pretend like I get it for the sake of progress.
I hear you.
The judge was now creating, small talk with the witness regarding geopolitics and stuff. This is after the court interpreter left. They said that they needed them in another court. He was talking about rockets and drones and Ukraine and stuff. And you could see that Ndlovu
was not happy about how he was done in that court.
And also, Ndlovu confirmed that he could not tell when the pictures were deleted. He said that it is so, and Mshololo now moved to the observations Ndlovu made, the content regarding the face on the pictures. She said that she knew that he is not an expert, but as an adult person, she's going to ask him the questions. Shololo said the pictures depicting a man with an oval-shaped beard, as well as the hoodie and the hair appearing in some of the pictures, you cannot tell this court that this is the picture that resembles the person in October 2014. And Ndlovu said that that is the honest truth. And then Shololo said, so as a human being, you cannot then say because this person looks like this during the period of 2020 when these pictures were taken, it means that he resembles the same features of the same person during the period of October 2014. Sibanda objected, saying that it is an unfair question to the witness. Mshololo said that she did not hear the basis of the objection, and Sibanda said that the counsel is inviting the witness to argue the case for the state. It is for the state to argue, not for this witness to comment. But the state is the one who made him comment about the features of the facial what. Yabo. So Mshololo asked the judge to respond, or asked for permission from the judge to respond. And she said that it is because this witness was taken through those pictures, you see. So we also saw, as Mshololo was arguing, the side-by-side that Sibanda was referring to yesterday that he had compiled. It was a picture of Ntanzi, or allegedly Ntanzi, and an identikit of the second suspect, suspect B, right, which was taken back in 2014. So those two pictures now were compiled side by side. And considering the fact that Sibanda is the one who said he compiled them, then he might as well just give evidence on them. I don't understand why now Ndlovu was siphoned to comment on that compilation of those pictures. It doesn't make sense if he's not the one who put them together. So the state really wants to pursue this without Warrant Officer Steenkamp. Why? Why? I'm just curious why. And then the witness was led regarding the two pictures. The judge said, what does it say about the one picture that was in the identity parade? Isn't it an identity parade, the one where the suspects line up? This witness, what does he say about it? And Mshololo said that the witness was asked to give a description of the pictures. So before she could finish, the judge cut her and said, is it the clothing or facial? The clothing or facial, meaning regards to the face. Because you are arguing that he is not a facial expert. Well, Mshololo said that he gave both. And then the judge said facial. Mshololo said yes. The judge then said, and then apparel also. He's not an expert on identifying apparel. Apparel means clothes. And Mshololo said yes. Then the judge went on and he said, yeah, put it to him. And I'm like, what is going on? He said, put it to him. Then the judge said to the witness, when they say you are wearing a toga or a robe, a toga or a robe, which is gray and red, she's putting it to you that you cannot be able to identify that. I just felt like at this point, why does it feel like you are now taking over Mshololo's cross-examination? why are you telling her what to do? Why are you changing the direction and the course of the cross-examination?
Oh, thank you. At least someone here. Tim Cool saying, yes, Mr. Anonymous, it happens with Excel and Microsoft Word. Thank you.
Okay. So it also happens with pictures.
I think it should, because it's the software is not far from, it's that of a Microsoft Word. I think it's part or something like that. It should.
Unless if they put the pictures in a weight, right? Unless if that process happened. But either way, yeah, I'll accept the explanation, even though I have no idea. I can't picture it, but it's fine. I'll accept it. If you guys are saying it is, then it is. Who am I to argue? Well, he said, I dare you tell me that the judge is not aware of what he is doing. So, yeah. This whole back and forth that was happening was just honestly too weird for me, guys. I didn't understand why is now the evidence, what Mshololo's cross-examination is being steered in a different direction. Kuthiwa manje Mshololo must put it to Ndlovu that he doesn't even know how to identify clothes. But that's not the subject of the matter that Mshololo was questioning about. Mshololo said, no, but that's not my question for now. And the judge said, I thought you said even the apparel, they can't be able to identify it. Mshololo said, no. And then the judge said, okay, fine. Then Mshololo said, I was responding to the objection that the reason why I'm entering into this field of evidence is because the witness had been asked to comment on these pictures. And then the judge said, okay, fine. Mshololo to the witness now said, I am not asking this question, not because you are an expert. I'm asking for the general information as a police officer. If you have no answer or no response, you can just say so. She continued asking about that picture, you know. At this point, Ramsepele asked to approach accused number 2, and Mshololo now asked the question, pointing at the exhibit to Ndlovu. She said, can you now say that because this person resembles these pictures, then it means it is the same person as this picture, the same person on the same exhibit? It was reddish when you testified about it, and we know that this one was taken on 2020, pointing that of Ntanzi's selfie or alleged selfie in a hoodie. And this one we don't know, but it was identified as the person who resembles these facial features during the period of October 2014. Ndlovu said that he didn't have a comment, but what I found interesting is this reddish situation, right? Apparently when this picture was displayed for the whole court to see on the projector or the screen, it looks like it was reddish, because even Nisi yesterday pointed out that the picture looked reddish, right? And now Advocate Mshololo is also speaking about reddish, right? So that is something that I took, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? The judge interfered with Mshololo's cross-examination and asked the state if they were going to re-examine. Mshololo then said to him that she was not done. Then the judge said to her that she said that she was. This was her last question, because she had explained prior to asking the previous question. She said, this is my last question. Now the judge is like, but you said this is your last question. Mshololo said, on this exhibit. I said, it's my last question on this exhibit. Then he said, I just need to clarify this on record.
Sorry, Abel, I'm sorry to disturb you.
Yes, yes.
Moses says, I just checked online. There are examples of authorities that allow the accused to seek independent doctors. I think, yeah, I would like to hear that, Moses. I don't know when we're done. When you are calling, I would like to hear that. Maybe I think the issue here that the judge is probably going to dwell on is during the cross-examination. I think
the evidence in chief of the state
is probably trying to right now look for that and say
something that a law
that will support
say,
that's where I think it's going. I don't think really it should be difficult to get such authorities. But what he's trying to go to is that it's during the cross-examination. They should allow the cross-examination. I think that's what he's going to try to say.
That they should finish with the gold hammering situation.
They should finish with the witness.
Yes.
But then he's going to say it has been put to this witness, which my client is saying it's a wrong assertion that was put. And anything that can help me to prove that, so that I put the right assertion and correct the record.
Well, Mshololo said that she just needed clarity on the record, and she asked Ndlovu, you testified in 2023, and Ndlovu said yes. Now, at the time, did you retrieve these pictures into the disk and USB? And Ndlovu said that he wanted to go back to what he had explained yesterday. He said, I only had the disk, but the USB was my backup. I even explained that if you check the disk, the date it was created, and you check the USB, we're talking about it, has different dates. So Mshololo then said, when did you give the state that disk? And Ndlovu said he cannot recall because the book in which they sign off things when collecting was not with him. And Mshololo asked him, was this disk sealed when you gave it to Sergeant Mohani? And Ndlovu said, it is so. As I explained yesterday, it was sealed. And Mshololo asked him again, it is also your evidence that you don't know when these pictures were retrieved from the disc to this photo album? And Ndlovu said yes. And you don't know where the disc has been kept from the time when you handed it to Sergeant Mohani up to the time when these pictures were transferred to the exhibit. Ndlovu said that he thinks that he can explain that, as he said, he wasn't done doing his job. Once they had signed it, he no longer entered the situation once it was signed over. Right. And he said, I don't know what is happening moving forward concerning that exhibit. And he's saying that he was asking that as he is being questioned, they're questioning him with what is concerning him, because as to where it went afterwards, once it has left and it has been signed over, he said he was out of it. His work was done. Mshololo then said to him, thank you, I accept that you don't know because it was no longer with you. And Mshololo said to him, and I know that you are not a facial identification expert, but you have been in the SAPS for how long now? And Ndlovu said it was over 20 years in the SAPS. And then Mshololo asked him that in your experience as a police officer, do you know that the pictures are capable of being edited? I'm not talking about your skills. I'm saying generally. And Ndlovu said yes, he's knowledgeable of that and he's also able to do it. Now this marked the end of Mshololo's cross-examination. He's also able to edit the pictures. The judge was very eager.
That's why I'm saying Ndlovu was a bit neutral. For a state.
Nami also took me by surprise, because usually when the police officers are testifying, the lines are very clear. But with him,
with Gininde, he would have defended that part of editing.
Yeah.
With his life.
With a lot of essay answers, explaining a lot of things, and just like, yeah. Well, the judge was very eager for Sibanda's cross-examination, and it defined, not cross-examination, but re-examination. And it finally happened. Sibanda said, yesterday when you gave your testimony, you indicated that you could see that on the picture, the date was 2020. My question is it the date the photos were transferred on the SD card, or is it the date in which they were captured with the J5 camera, the Samsung J5 camera? Ndlovu said that he would like to explain it again. There are photos that you are able to see. It shows Samsung J5. So this is when now mina ke ngiyadideka if you guys are saying that when the picture comes back it has no data.
I think, guys,
Where is the Samsung J5 information coming from?
No. Those are pictures that were taken.
Okay.
Those are pictures that were there.
Okay.
The J5, those are pictures that had timestamp and everything. And there were pictures that were deleted that didn't have anything.
That didn't have data.
Yeah.
So the date there will never change. And the date the photo left
Let
the
us
J5
agree
and entered the memory
to disagree
card.
with this one.
Yeah.
It depends on the system that we are using. And I think also, with the software that we are using to restore those pictures, and I think also it depends on how much you of that system you bought. For example, there are levels with these things normally.
Yeah.
When they build them, if you want to restore even the date and time and all that, you need to pay more.
They release
I don't think the
features
police
and
are
dun.
in that department of paying more. They probably pay for something to restore.
Okay.
So
They
it is
don't
restoring.
have
They don't have that
the
feature
one that
will
retrieves
restore
the
everything.
information.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, yabona mawichaza kanjalo. Then maybe yes, ngathi ngiyayibona. Yabo, because mawuthola software uthola ukuthi mhlawumbe you're not getting the premium experience. The premium experience yiyo ezophula nale data ikhombisa ukuthi lesi sithombe siqhamukaphi.
Yeah, so nina niya kuma software, the software abayisebenzisayo, they pay for it. You guys didn't pay for what you were using, so
we were the
that's why you guys are saying
it was way back in 2013,
Yeah.
2014 and stuff. So yeah, it makes sense because we were the experiment. These softwares were being tested and they were being made free, and we were like, okay.
Yeah,
Let me
you'll
try
always
it out.
get those free ones. And I even someone was saying, use this, use that. But have you ever used an XRY?
No, I wouldn't know what it is until I work with it. Yeah, bo. So yeah, regarding the fact that he is not a facial identification expert, Sibanda asked him if he was using observations or expertise. Then Ndlovu said that he was making use of his own observations, which took a good 2 hours yesterday in examination in chief. That time, in my opinion, was worthy of an expert. There was no need to put Ndlovu through that. That's my opinion. It's my opinion. So Sibanda then said, don't you see any fault with these two exhibits? And Ndlovu said no. So Sibanda then asked him, are these identical photos? Ramasipili raised an objection at this point, and the judge asked, what's the objection about? And his tone, in my opinion, was kind of harsh. Ramasipili said he only saw one photo and one ID kit. And then the judge said, you'll argue that, Mr. Ramasipili, otherwise we'll never finish this case. The judge asked Sibanda if he was saying identical or similar. It's just comparative language as he understood. Well, then Ramasipili asked Sibanda what he was comparing to, and Sibanda said that it was the downloads that he had done. He now used Ramasipili's picture that he held earlier on that showed Ntanzi, Yeah, the judge now asked what they were arguing about, and Ramasipili highlighted that the image is of one photo and one ID kit. Sibanda said that he was not even referring to those. He was referring to another picture. Then the judge said to Ramasipili that he was confused by photographs. Sibanda he said he wanted a comment from Ndlovu regarding the comparison of Ntanzi's picture in a hoodie and that of the ID kit of suspect B. Ndlovu said that what he has done and will continue to do is that he did his work with utmost best and trust. He says that, I think that even a person seated here will see that everything I was saying it with trust and honesty. I was asked to confirm what they did and what was in my possession. The judge, Sibanda Baloyi's faces.
Yeah, this is when he was
saying that they looked uncomfortable.
on the cruise. He was on the cruise. Stembile Mkwanazi. Nkulunkulu akubusise. Thank you.
Thank you, Stembile. Thank you so much. I was like, the faces are speaking a lot. Why are these faces so uncomfortable now? It's like, I'm sorry, guys. He said, what I cannot doubt to say is that the photos are the same number as the one on this picture. He said, I think that is what I came here for. So this, I won't be able to comment whether from the extraction that I did. We decided to get now off this bus, in my opinion, to say that, you know what, I cannot go on. I cannot go any longer. The bus stops here for me. I'm done. Because this bus is going too far. It's Sibanda pulling the identikit and his picture, putting them side by side. And then Jovu probably thought, you know what, they're going to cross-examine me on this and I had nothing to do with this compilation. Well, then Sibanda said, just to add the cherry on top, Mr. Ramasipili also admitted that the photos as well as the features are correct presentation of accused number 2. Mshololo objected at this point, and then Sibanda said that it was re-examination. He wanted the witness to comment. And Mshololo said it was argumentative. The witness heard when the assertion was made by the defense. And then the judge said he could continue. Of course. Ndlovu said that he was listening, and then Sibanda said, and it accords with your evidence. Ndlovu said that he agreed. Sibanda said in relation to the chain of custody. Ndlovu said that's correct. I don't know chain of custody kanjan, but yes. At this point, Advocate Baloyi whispered something to Sibanda. I think he was tipping him or something, or asking him to ask Ndlovu maybe another question. But then when Sibanda came back, he said, can you also clarify that in terms of the metadata that I took you through yesterday, the photos that were shown to you yesterday as per your downloads were taken with a Samsung J5? Ndlovu answered that that was correct. The judge, of course, wanted to add some point, for the state, in my opinion. He asked the witness if there was anything wrong with their eyesight. Ndlovu said no. What do you think about those questions at the end? He was talking about whether he had an eyesight problem, whether he can drive without wearing any glasses, whether he wore sunglasses, and then Ndlovu said he only wears sunglasses sometimes when he's working. What was the point?
He was finishing his notes.
Well,
to
after
say an independent person who had no problem of eyesight came and attest to these things being similar.
Well, the state called Sergeant Moses Mabasa. He's attached to the Provincial Organized Crime Unit. He did the analysis and downloading of cell phones for accused number 3. He testified twice before in August 2023. Now, Mabasa's evidence related to pictures of accused number 3, Mthobisi Mncube, and he told the court that the picture that was beamed in court was of Mthobisi Mncube. Sibanda asked, can you tell the court the source of this picture? And Mabasa said that it was from a memory card of a Samsung G2220. And Sibanda asked, what is depicted on that picture? And Mabasa said it's a man with dreadlocks with a smile wearing a t-shirt which is brown, black, and blue. Okay, so Sibanda then asked him, what else do you observe? And Mabasa said that he could see some gold on the teeth. Sibanda then said, and the second page, it's the same picture, Mabasa said. Then Sibanda said, I'm more interested in where you say you see a goldish part. Just take your time and describe to the court where exactly is it situated. Then Nisi stood up and said that the state needed to be very specific. The witness did not say a goldish part. He said, I see in his teeth there is gold. I prefer that the same terminology that is being used by the witness should be followed, so as there is no misunderstanding. Then Sibanda then said, where do you see the gold? And Mabasa said, on the upper jaw from the right hand side. He thinks it's the second teeth that look goldish. The judge then said, sorry, this evidence has been traversed so that I'm not accused of giving evidence. According to the dentist, Dr. Tlokwe, he said that there are 4 quadrants on a jaw. Now, he wanted Mabasa to use dental terminology to describe which quadrant of the jaw the gold teeth were exactly located. He asked even Nxumalo Mshololo for confirmation, and Mshololo did not have it. She said, absolute, Mshololo was not participating or coming to this party. She said, no, my lord, the doctor never testified about accused number 3. The judge got upset. And he said, you see now we're talking about a different thing. I'm talking about dental language. How, my daughter? Must we fight about everything? Hi, yesterday was a comedy show, guys.
You started the fight, Mas.
Then he said, okay. What I said, use whatever language you want. Sibanda also did not help the situation and said, let's try and use simple language. Guys, you need to watch this part again. I was laughing so hard. I was like, yo. This is probably the best scene I've seen.
Mjololo just gave them the taste of their medicine.
I think I missed Mjololo.
When they normally deflect and say something totally different from what is being asked by the defense. It's like, no.
They were talking
that
about
doctor never said anything about
kiss number 3. They were talking about a kiss number 2. Oh, must everything be a fight? Well, Sibanda then said the gold that you see on the upper or lower side of the jaw. And Mabasa said, I said on the right upper jaw, from what I can see on the second teeth from the right of the mouth. Then Mabasa said, from my right hand side, when I count the teeth, I said 1, 2, I'm referring to this one. Mabasa said that he did not know the doctor's language or dentist, right?
Mabasa also was one random person. He conquered more with the defense. When it comes to these things, it's like
quadrant of the first quadrant. First, I'm not coming.
The first one, quadrant, or it's like nah.
Simple language, please.
Telling me that I have to divide my teeth into 4.
Hey. The judge looked annoyed, in my opinion, and said that he must. The witness must give their own evidence. You want to clarify the evidence with this witness. You'll clarify it in cross-examination. Let him give evidence. That's the procedure. Then Sibanda beamed the pictures in court. Mabasa said that he used a simple snapping tool from the computer to cut from the original picture to different pictures that he put in Exhibit SD. Then once he cut into this page, he brightened it to be more clearer using MS Office. So I'm going to... Okay, let me leave it alone. I'm gonna get confused. Sibanda then said, who prepared this document? Mabasa said, I did as requested. And Sibanda said, who requested you? Mabasa said, the state via the investigating team. And then it turns out it's from Sergeant Mohola. He said he received the request on the 2nd of February 2025. So he received this request this year in February. And then Sibanda said, did you authenticate the picture with the set of data that you had in your possession? And Mabasa asked which set of data. Then Sibanda displayed what he was talking about on the screen. Mabasa said that the picture came from the downloads that he analyzed before. And Nisi asked him which picture was Sibanda referring to. Well, the judge, way before I think it was time for adjournment, he said that they can adjourn because there seemed to be confusion. Sibanda said there was no confusion, and he said that he's testifying and you are leading, and the other one is seeking for clarity. He's not seeing that. Let's adjourn until 2 p.m.
He wanted to go pee. He'd been drinking too much water.
Well, after the long adjournment, Mabasa was now testifying on MNCUBE's picture, apparently. And Mabasa said this is the original from the memory card. He gave the file name Gadla Jenene and the file size 4.43 KB, file format JPEG. And he said that JPEG meant that the format of the camera of the phone. And then he said that it was the original photo that was created 2014-09-02-1632. The time was 1632. And it was modified on the 16th, I would say, of July 2014 at 21:21. He said that its modified date is where the memory card was moved to another device or otherwise. And he said the access date was 2015.
So this guy said JPEG is for camera.
It's the type of
format.
camera of the phone, not the format. No.
So you know a different thing. Eh?
And then Mabasa said that a memory card belonging to Mthobisi Gadla MNCUBE. And Sibanda then said, then on page 4, this picture was the original picture when it was downloaded. Mabasa said yes. He said that he did not edit the picture. He said he gave evidence in another court. Ever since the last he testified, even today, he was from another court. He testified in Johannesburg High Court. And Mabasa once again pointed out where he saw the gold teeth. Then Sibanda was done. Nisi now stood up and he said Mr. MNCUBE instructed him that before they commence with cross-examination, they must make a request. He requested that before Nisi cross-examines, he must be taken for a dental examination or taken to a dental surgeon for dental examination based on this late information that the state is coming with now. He requested that if the state were to take him to a district surgeon, he will also request permission from this court to also be allowed to be examined by a private dental surgeon.
In a sense, they're saying, we don't trust you. You've been cooking. I'm joking. Allegedly. We will have our own opinion somewhere else. We don't trust you people.
It's best to do
next
that.
Next thing, Kineda will be asking as an investigator.
Who the private doctor is. Allegedly.
Very helpful.
Yes.
No, not a private doctor. With that district surgeon.
Oh, allegedly.
It's very helpful. I think it falls under him to actually go and run the errands of such. Yeah.
He's an investigating officer. And he said that he fully agreed with him in that regard because this information that comes now in the process, when the case has gone on for 2 years, now they are confronted with a picture of this nature. He said, we are unable to proceed with cross-examination pending the investigation of the authenticity of what is being there.
So,
of accused
the picture that we saw
with.
of, was there gold there, MNCUBE?
I don't remember seeing a gold.
Oh.
The ones on the dreadlocks, the ones we used to share on the community tab like 2 years ago. I mean, angibonangi gold. Mina angikhumbuli. Maybe my memory is failing me, but I don't remember.
Ayona bayayifaka le gold shame, hayi bayayifaka.
Angikhumbuli.
Bayayifaka. And if uMncube engenayo, because I mean my hunch was that Mncube would have it.
Yeah.
If uMncube engenayo ke phela manje ijumpile ngoba angiyiboni lezi insizwa lezi eyisele ezu2 lezi number 4 no 5. I don't see them actually having such things. Those ones, you can even tell by the way they cut their hair. The other one does not cut
At all.
The other one is. So I don't see this theory of gold sticking.
Angikhumbuli mina ngikhumbula ngibona gold teeth. It would have been a thing if I saw that gold teeth. Back then I was still on fire. I wanted to put the dots together, but it's been 2 years. The dots are not.
So they edited this thing.
The dots are not coming together, guys.
It's okay. And we are objector who can't aren't we at that court to actually find the truth?
I'm confused.
Why are you objecting if someone says he wants to subject himself to the doctor so that you can have a proper truth?
Joe, go to that court. It feels like the state is the defense and the defense is the state. Kunje.
I don't see the theory of a gold tooth Mbela ngathi was far-fetched. You know, it is now going to be very costly because they must give in to this thing. This person is not saying I'm running away. He's saying, test me if I've ever had a gold tooth. Gold tooth. Test me. And now they are objecting. They're like, no,
before?
We don't want to test you.
Oh, Konji's correctional services, it could not have been easy to just...
We don't want to test you. I asifuna test. Right is Tom, it's enough. Tom is enough. We can see you there.
You have an opportunity, a divine opportunity to prove that
come
a person
back with
had
a
a
proper
gold
theory.
tooth. You know, and then you're they don't need to test for the gold tooth. Guys, can't.
And Umnis must have that doctor ready.
Yeah.
I'm prepping over. Hey, South Africa.
But the accused is even willing to pay from his own pocket.
You should call a low private though. Because next thing, we want to know that doctor.
Hey, but you want to know that doctor for what? Because they wanted to know the expert as well. They want to know that
we want to know the doctor. You know, we went to fetch the report for you. Yeah, that's perfect. It's nice here, man. It's nice to be here. Right. Yeah, the calls are open for you guys. Shortly. Be short, guys. I
hope you have your notes ready because it helps making notes before you go.
Interpreter kangizwe. Hlala endaweni. Ndede lapha. What do you so go on mfana man? Ithi ngqop. Yeah, one of the best interpreters I've ever seen. Mzansi, hello. Oh man, look at me. Hold on a bit. Hold on. Yeah. It's my fault. Yes. Yeah, shoot now.
Mzansi Reality, hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Mr. Rollman. Good morning, Emily.
Morning.
I am calling from the United Kingdom.
Hi.
And yeah, been following you guys. So I do a little bit of traveling, but I always manage to watch you guys. And I heard Mr. Anoma saying, make the calls short. So what I did is I've got about 4 points that I want to actually read, not to discuss with you guys. Then
Okay.
at least time for other guys. The first one is I just want to warn Sister Emily that you actually shouldn't be putting on a gray jacket these days. It's not safe. Gray hoodies are not the best to put on these days, so you better change your hoodie.
I like hoodies. Hoodies in winter are great. Okay, they're comfortable.
Not gray one, and to be honest, every person who likes hoodies has got a black
We are in
black
trouble.
hoodie in there. Yeah, so personally, like I said, I'm calling from the UK. I'm not South African, but I've got a kid in South Africa at a university there.
Yeah.
And I'm worried about what happens there. And I'm just praying she goes through school and she's safe. And to be honest, last year, almost a year from today, my brother's son's wife, whom I'll call my daughter-in-law,
Yes.
got gunned down in Joburg in her own house, preparing a meal by somebody who wanted to steal a cell phone and a TV. And nothing has been done. She's late, she's buried, no docket, nothing. So when I started following this Senzo Meyiwa case, I was like, so this doesn't just happen to Mandisa or Senzo's mother. This even happens to people who are not even South Africans, who are living in South Africa, to every South African who is in South Africa. So I really commend you guys for what you are doing. So my other point, like my third point would be, look, when I started following this case, I was annoyed when the judge interjected and harassed Sololo, Ngomezulu, all the different lawyers. But as time went on, I was like, look, keep on doing that, RATHA. You need to do more of that. The more you do it, the more you show the world that you are compromised, allegedly. The more you show that you are descending into the arena, and the more these guys, the defense will have a basis on their appeal documentation. So don't get annoyed when the RATHA interjects, because when it comes to appeal, it's only the record that goes. And there's a record of the judge interjecting and yelling at the defense lawyers and yelling at witnesses that seem to sympathize with the defense. So that's fine. Then the other point I wanted to say is that the defense lawyers are brilliant on legal matters. But I feel that these guys, they've got a little bit of a challenge when it comes to technical issues like the AVO, the DNA, and even this part that we're going through the pictures. I think I know it's expensive, but some of these things, guys, are now on the internet. They are now free. Like the argument you have been going through with Mr. Anonymous about a photo being, like I know I've used Disk Digger, for example. It brings that picture back.
Yes.
If you pay for it, if you pay for Disk Digger, it gives you everything, including the metadata, everything. Even the quality and the pixels, it comes back exactly where it was. So, but these guys, I don't think they are doing, maybe they're limited by money, but they could actually do better when it comes to challenging technical issues. And Baloy has realized that these guys struggle when we go technical. That's why he would spend 3 months with the Pinky by filling on the stand saying, dot font, this one, this that, reading like even that he bought a time for 75 runs and stuff like that, because he's realized these guys struggle when it comes to that. Then my fifth point is that there's nothing that the defense can do to sway Judge RATHA. That gentleman, that guy, allegedly, or maybe from my own observation, but to protect your channel, I'll use the word allegedly. To me, he appears compromised.
Yep.
If you look at the DNA the AVL, the cell phone 205's records, even the general arguments in the case, following the things. Senzo didn't die in a police station. He died at his girlfriend's place. There's nobody involved who was in the house. So cops, police. So I think where the defense case lies really is when they start the defense case. So when they call in Senzo's brother to come and state, this is what Ginenda said, this is what happened. When they call in Kelly, these guys allegedly were hired by you to kill your husband. Did you hire them? Do you know them? I don't know these guys. So there's no case about somebody who hired somebody to unalive somebody. Then the lady who cleaned the house, you're like, ma'am, you cleaned the house. Who cleaned a crime scene after a robbery gone wrong? It points right. So then you call in MNCUBE and Joyce Butales. They have nothing to lose. They've resigned as far as I'm concerned. If I'm right, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought MNCUBE and Joyce Butales have finished with the cops. You call those guys, they have nothing. They will tell the truth. So I'm thinking and Baloy seems to know that when they start, the defense starts arguing their case, they are going to call these people, and these people will crumble the state's case, and therefore delay, bringing back this witness, that witness, and we delay the point where the defense starts running their case. So anyway, that's my point, guys. Keep on doing the wonderful job you are doing, Miss Anonymous. You're the greatest. Emily, just take off your grey jacket, otherwise we'll see you in prison as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I rebuke. No way.
Sorry, yeah, you were off mic. Yeah, someone is saying the way the judge explained the evidence better than love, it gives you shady vibes. Whoever brought RATHA to this case brought him for a reason, allegedly. As for RATHA, drinking from an empty an empty glass was the star of the show. Do you guys sense arrogance from Sibanda, or is it me? Yeah, he's got his bit arrogant. The guy is so full of himself and arrogant. May khuluma yambona ukuthi uzitshela ukuthi ushaye into ephezulu and eja. Mzansi, hey, how are you?
Thank you very much for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Mister, I want my data.
It's not. Yes.
I appreciate your show so much.
Yes.
So I've never been technical about it. I had put some points on the basis of the arguments that are happening in court. I forgot to say you guys are doing a good job yet again.
Thank you.
It is really sad that we're dealing with the High Court, and from a technological point of view, they're so super clueless. It hurts my heart. I had put some points together. You know that when I think Ramosipile, I don't know what he's made of. I don't know his history. I don't know his background. I haven't researched him. I just got diverted because I had some points to actually say about somebody. And that's the one that is referred to as a judge. You know what he was asking about, how pictures get named. When you look at how a picture is named, in it there is a hidden code. It involves both decimal and hexagonal kind of numerical coding in it. Digitally speaking. That's why you, at the end of the day, get a digital footprint.
Yes.
Hexagonally speaking, you can count from A to F. So once they put it to that end, then you start with numbers. They might not get from 0 necessarily to 8. They might leave it at that. And they can build how much that information. It's a military language. So when you ask about what format a picture is in, you are already diverted to some other world you do not know. So it's a digital system that started long ago. I mean, if you think about that, at some point, they were thinking in zeros and ones, digitally speaking. How do you understand 0, 0, 1, 1? What does that mean to you?
It means nothing to me if I don't understand.
So I wouldn't argue like that. And the court tries that. And they're going to bring about a person. A 0, 0 digitally is a 1. So a switch closes. And then it interprets something. It's discrete in a sense that if it is a 1, the switch closes. Now, if it becomes a number that cannot be interpreted, it must flip quickly. That's how advanced we are today. We refer to it as a duty cycle. There's now semiconductors. You're defining a language as you are going through that entire process. Kufana nokuthi ungena endlini ucima a switch, you just expect your light bulb to go off or on. That is discrete. But Mabu switcher is stove on mouse phone 1 is still partially discrete. So kuba duty cycle bangabusu shinja. So you want something that is in between. That's a digital language. Thus, I once argued at some point that these lawyers need to be taken for basic science to understand what they actually dealing with. And they don't appreciate the art that some of us go to school for years to actually understand what it means. It's a joke, lapane court. Yabo. It's a joke. They don't understand what they're talking about. I mean, who is RATHA to come around and try to argue against DNA? I mean, for God's sake. If I must die today, I don't care who he has behind him. He cannot speak about something he does not know. We scientists, man, we hear. He even asked a question, with DNA. There aren't so many black people that know mathematics in this country. This thing. They're talking nonsense. The hexagon, guys.
I feel.
I feel no, we can't. There is a lot of meaning. It's a military language. Go check what that language, how it started. ukuthi abantu abangaboni how they read, that they call it braille or something. It's all technology.
Yeah.
Does he think he can? I'm sorry.
No, we hear you. I see.
Ngiyaxolisa.
No, it's cool.
Ngiyaxolisa.
Okay.
All is alleged, guys. And again, the views are of the caller. But yeah, you're entering a very interesting space of how to read. Mzansi, hello. The information.
Hello, Mr. Ano.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good, and you? How are you, Millie?
I'm good, and yourself?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Ano, I just want to be short.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if Ramosipele is really following the evidence sometimes. If I listened correctly, Ramosipele said that they admit to some of the pictures that it was him, even the pictures and everything. Not all the pictures. But what annoyed me is that Sibanda stands up and says, Mr. Ramosipele admit to all the pictures that it was accused number 2. Ramosipele doesn't stand up and correct the record there and there. It goes with saying now all the pictures. But when Ramosipele was submitting, he said, accused number 2 submit that some of the pictures it's indeed him. The other one is sitting there cruising nicely and even on Tuesday, I think he's gonna stand up and say, my Lord, no submissions. Okay. The last one. I think this application of being taken to dental examination, wasn't it supposed to be made by the state because they have the picture that says this person has a gold teeth? So taking the person to the dental examination would have supported their allegation of that picture to say, indeed, my Lord, as they did with Bongani Ndanzi.
Yes.
Because that is the leg that Ncube supposed to stand on, that they did it with Bongani Ndanzi. Why not with me? They just want to come up with a picture and then a whole doctor Sibanda says, no, my Lord, we are objecting. They must just put it to him. And then tomorrow they're going to turn back and say it was the word of a mouth. They came with a picture. So what's going to be a weight there? The state, because obviously they had a picture. And then the judge is going to say what? No, your client only denied having the gold tooth. But the state produced the evidence. Now the Ncube says, I want to challenge that evidence by bringing another evidence to say I didn't have. So it clearly shows that if the state objects to that, it shows that there was a cooking there. Because now how are they going to come back and now explain if the dentist comes and say, no, this person never had a gold tooth? How are they going to explain that picture? Hence they are objecting to this. And I think the judge is going to assist them because the judge is well aware that there is no authority like that. And I'm surprised the judge says, this is a very peculiar request. It has never been done. I'm 35 years. And all the laws started somewhere before they become authority.
They do.
They have to start somewhere. Then tomorrow somebody can quote that authority. But I don't understand with this case. Everything has to be authority prior to that. Same as the confessions. The judge admitted that these people, they did accused number 1 and 2, they did those confessions freely and voluntarily. Although all the evidence that they were denying, saying this was not done freely and voluntarily, it was the word of the mouth. What did the judge say when he was making the judgment? They only denied. Even though the ABL supported their versions, but the judge did not listen to it. So he wants to do the very same thing with Ncube with this pitch.
Yes.
We must really base this argument on what they did, because the investigators, Brigadier Kininda, They should have done the very same thing if they had this speech, especially if they had this speech when they arrested accused number 3 that actually the person with the gold tooth is this one, was accused number 3. So as part of investigation, let's take this person to the dentist and then we come back and then we produce that. My lord, actually the person with the gold tooth is accused number 3. Here is the picture, here is the dentist report. Then the case is closed. But to show that there was a cooking that went wrong, allegedly. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good point. Indeed. If you've got nothing to fear, if you are doing the right things, then you've got nothing to fear. In fact, you should set this precedent so that others can refer to the same stuff that you have done.
And the caller is right.
Hello Mzansi. Ngisacela ukubuza la ukuthi since the guy abasebenzisa ipicture yakhe ezontanzi kuzokwenzakalani since esevule i-case about lento eyenzeka e-court, so kuzokwenzakalani?
Who opened the case?
There was a picture circulating. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday?
Okay.
That one of the pictures that is said to be Ntanzi, the owner came forth.
And they opened the case.
I think that's what's being reported now, that they are opening a case, or they've decided to open a case, because they are adamant that that picture is theirs and they're saying that it was edited.
Oh. That would be very interesting then.
So we'll see that story and how it develops.
That would be very interesting. Open it in KZN. And you've got Ntlantla that side at least. Yes.
And I mean, the caller was right about Ramasipeli. You know, I'm just here going through what he was saying. And he said other pictures.
Yes.
He did not say
Sibanda
all the
stands up and
pictures.
say other.
And the thing is, Mshalolo tried to object and but Ramasipili, what was happening?
You were still coming down. Right, guys.
You know that's not what you said.
Gay bamba manje. Thank you, guys. We don't have course tomorrow today. Right? Right. I think I'll take this time and visit Zungu's.
The cherry on top. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Mr. Anonymous. It's fine. I'm done.
Yeah, it's a bye from me, guys. And I see we have a new member. We have a new...
Welcome to the Mzansi Reality family.
I'm trying to figure out who's that. Okay. I don't see. But there's a new member. Yeah, I think I will revisit Zungu's testimony now that we have the full view. I think we should go through it. We have the script, so we can do that on tomorrow. They're not here.
No, they're not appearing tomorrow.
We can retrieve
They'll
it.
They'll be coming back on Tuesday.
And then go live with the members. Thank you.